Hello and welcome to the Story Engine podcast. My name is Kyle Gray. And what if I were to tell you that the very thing that makes you think you are a great speaker, your polished script with all of the perfectly written words dialed in to target your audience, is actually what's holding you back? Mastery does not live on a single page and is not captured in a script, but it's about connection, presence, and adaptability. And these are things that no script can teach. But many speakers believe that once they've written their perfect script, their work is done. They think that a script and great slides is the destination, the finish line. But this belief is the very thing that's harming their conversions. Because your script is a tool, not a solution. It exists only on paper. You're trapped. You're distant from yourself and your message, and most importantly, from your audience. Instead of being free to connect authentically, you're constantly looking back to your slide. You're constantly bound to the words, afraid to stray, and stuck in mechanics. And it's why audiences feel inspired sometimes, but not really moved, impressed, but not connected with you. And it's why speakers with brilliant ideas walk off the stage wondering why they didn't make the impact they hoped for. Scripts are seductive because they feel like control. They give you the illusion of preparedness, of having everything figured out. But here's the truth. A script can't create connection. A script cannot teach adaptability. A script can't respond in the moment. A great speaker does not read their message, they live it. They've internalized their talk and their ideas so deeply that the words disappear, leaving only their authentic presence and connection. They can sense the energy in the room and who they're speaking to. They can pivot when needed. They can lean into the moments of resonance, all because their mastery goes far beyond the page. But here's the problem. When you rely on script alone, you're like an artist who sketches an outline but never paints the picture. The script is the beginning, not the end. When you rely too heavily on a script, you are focusing on the mechanics. Am I saying this right? Instead of the meaning behind your words. And you're focused on yourself, which creates a barrier between you and your audience that can feel when you're performing instead of truly being. A rigid script leaves no room for spontaneity. If your audience shows some unexpected interest in a story or a point, you might miss the chance to dive deeper and create a lasting impact. A completed script feels like an accomplishment, or having a story created and written for you feels like it's done, but it's only the first step. Because without practice, without feedback, without moving through these ideas until they become natural to you, it's just words on a page. No perfect script or series of words by themselves is enough to take action with an audience. Connection is what drives conversion. And if you are disconnected, it feels like your message is rehearsed instead of real. Your audience won't be moved to take the next step no matter how compelling the content is. Real mastery isn't about having a polished script. It's about internalizing your message so deeply that it becomes a part of who you are. It's about transcending the words and showing up as the most powerful, present version of yourself. And great speakers, the ones who are memorable and leave a lasting impact, don't memorize their stories. They know the frameworks and systems that make great stories as deeply as they know the story of their own life. They don't need to recite their points, they embody them. And this is why mastery takes time. And even a single day script building VIP session, like what I do with my clients, can't replace months of refining, of practicing, of growing into your message. It's why your clients need more than words. They need transformation. They need to become the person that wants to work with you, just like you need to become the person that inspires them to move forward. Mastering a high converting talk is much like mastering a martial art. And at its core, martial arts is about more than physical movements, just like a talk is more than physical words, or I don't know if physical words is really the right thing, but you get what I mean. It's about discipline. It's about awareness. It's about adaptability. It's about the constant pursuit of improvement. And in the same way, storytelling and speaking are about connection, intention, and transformation. Martial artists practice the same moves thousands of times, not to perfect them, but to internalize them. And when a move becomes second nature, they can stop thinking about the mechanics and the word for word and focus on the flow. They can focus on their presence. They can focus on the creativity. Similarly, practicing your talk allows you to transcend the mechanics of your delivery. It creates space for true connection with your audience and responding authentically in the moment for whatever comes up. In martial arts, there are many key lessons that translate directly into speaking: repetition, adaptability, and resilience. Let's talk about the first one. Repetition builds muscle memory. Every kata, which is a form in martial arts, is a sequence of movements designed to build muscle memory. You don't just practice until you get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. And the same is true for your talk. Repeating your stories, your transitions, your key moments isn't about rote memorization. It's about creating a natural rhythm that frees you to focus on your audience instead of your script. When you rehearse your authority story, for example, you're not just learning the words, you're training yourself to feel the emotional beats of your story, to let your body language align with your message, and to stay fully present. This makes your delivery feel effortless and authentic, even in moments under pressure. Lesson 2, adaptability in the moment. In martial arts, no two fights are the same. You can train for countless scenarios, but when you step into the ring, you have to read your opponent and adapt. The same is true for speaking. Your audience will never be the same twice, and what resonates with one group of people might fall flat with another. Practicing your talk helps you develop the flexibility to respond, to listen, to understand in real time. Imagine giving a talk and noticing that your audience is particularly moved by a success projection story that you've shared. Because you've practiced and internalized your material, you now have the freedom to lean into that moment, adding emphasis, adjusting your pacing, or even tying it back later in your call to action. Imagine that something interesting happens at the event that you are speaking at that you want to call back to or tie in and relate. If you're just relying on your script, you won't have the room to do that. But if you've truly mastered the mechanics of great storytelling and speaking, you're going to be able to adapt and flow and play in the moment. Speaking of which, one of my clients, John Marino, experienced this firsthand. While giving a high-stakes talk in front of a large audience, all of his tech failed. He had no slides, no microphone, and no script to rely on. If John had only prepared his talk on paper, it would have been a disaster. But John mastered the frameworks underlying his stories. He made a joke about technology, acknowledged the situation with grace, and carried on without missing a beat. The moment didn't just save his talk, it elevated it. It made him better. And this audience respected his composure and trusted him more because of his adaptability and presence. And like I mentioned earlier, presence is also about playfulness. It's being able to respond to the energy in the room. It's noticing a unique moment or an event and weaving it into your talk. And being free enough to make a joke or having spontaneous insight instead of clinging to your script for dear life shows that you know what you're doing and that you know what you're talking about and creates more trust. And that's what people are looking for, especially in this age where there is so much information and noise and people trying to position themselves as the greatest, smartest authority out there. Now, resilience through practice, why it's worth the time. For many of my clients, and myself included, taking the time to practice feels almost impossible. When you're running a high stakes business, you're leading teams, you're delivering exceptional results in your field, your attention is constantly in demand, and it can feel ludicrous to block out the time to rehearse your talk in front of a camera or test your stories in front of a smaller audience or a safer place to really move and master these things. And for some, improvising on the fly works well enough. You can give them an idea, and the next time they're on stage, they can try it out. But let's be honest, how often do you really want to leave something as important as your signature talk, your high converting talk, the main way that you are driving clients to your business, up to chance, up to just winging it? That's not what we would do with a surgeon. It's not what we would do with an architect building our house or a tax planner. And these moments on stage, whether literal or metaphorical, are some of the most critical moments of your career. These aren't just speaking engagements. They're opportunities to build trust, inspire action, and convert your audience into lifelong advocates for your vision. And every time you take the stage, you are standing at a crossroads. Will this talk be just another moment, or will it be a transformational experience for you and your audience and for your business? This transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you've taken the time to internalize your message, refine your delivery, and build the confidence to show up as the most powerful version of yourself. When your talk improves, everything else in your business is going to improve. And here's how. When you deliver a talk that truly resonates, word spreads. Event organizers, podcast hosts, and clients start seeing you as the person they need on their stage, they need on their platform. A better talk where you are not burdened by having to memorize or have a perfect script, but you know the movements, the flow, the structure of your teaching and ideas means that you're going to get better results when you're on stage, whether it means more clients, more partnerships, more revenue. A talk that connects deeply with your audience is what's going to lead to action. And it's not just going to impact your messaging on stage, but what you bring to your talk is going to give you clarity and confidence in your core message, whether it's your sales calls, your marketing, and even how you lead your team. A well-delivered talk positions you as a leader and an authority in your industry. It amplifies your brand and makes you the go-to expert for your audience. When your talk resonates, you are building more trust, which means more clients are coming to your business, which means things are going to be a lot easier in your business and in your work. And hopefully you're going to have more time and freedom to focus on things that aren't your business, that isn't just putting out fires every day, but actually focusing on your vision of working on growing and expanding your business instead of figuring out how to plug the holes in your leaky funnel. The process of mastering your talk is a process of mastering yourself. It forces you to confront your doubts, to refine your communication skills, to defeat your own imposter syndrome, and step into your power as a leader. One of my clients, Andy Hickman, came to me with a goal. He wanted to double the price of his program and enroll 10 clients in his next cohort. And I can remember the very first call that we had together. Deep down, he wasn't sure if this was possible. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to do this. Will people see the value of what he's doing? Or am I even worthy of leading people in this way? Together, we built a high converting talk that captured the essence of his program. But he didn't stop there. He needed to understand on a deep level the techniques and the frameworks that we were experiencing and explaining and developing together. He needed to practice And not just practice, but challenge me and question me and make sure that he knew on a deep level why we were doing what we were doing and how we were doing line by line in his talk. And with that deeper understanding, he saw the purpose of practicing relentlessly, leaning into the process, even when it felt unnatural at first. He tested his talk in smaller settings and with smaller groups of people, refined his delivery, and kept showing up. And after 6 months, Andy didn't just hit his goal. I can remember being on one of our closing calls and asking him how well his program launch went. And he said, "Oh, I got 19 clients. That's pretty good. I'm sure I could have gotten better." But it was blasé, the results to him, because he had transformed himself in this process of becoming a speaker. And when I read back to him his original goal and his doubts and fears that he had at the beginning of working together, he laughed because it didn't even feel that big anymore. Andy's story is not just about the results. It's about the transformation that happens when you commit to mastery. It's a testament to how practice isn't just about improving your talk. It's about improving who you are as a leader and as a communicator. And every time you step onto the stage unprepared, you are gambling with your results. And while winging it may sometimes work occasionally, it's not a sustainable path to mastery, and it makes everything else in your business and your life harder. The moments that you spend on stages, on podcasts, and in front of your ideal clients are too important to leave to chance. So when you take the time to practice, when you build resilience through improving your preparation, you're not just improving your talk, you're transforming your business, you're transforming your brand, you're transforming your life. Your talk is more than just a vehicle for your ideas. It's a reflection of who you are. And every time you take the stage, you're not just sharing knowledge, you're sharing yourself. And the process of mastering your talk is at its core the process of mastering yourself. It's about stepping into the leader that you are meant to be. It's about finding your voice, sharpening your message, and showing up with the confidence and authenticity that only comes from truly knowing and honing your craft. It isn't about delivering a better talk. It's about creating a ripple effect. And when your talks convert more effectively, your business grows. And when your business grows, you gain the freedom and flexibility to focus on what truly matters. And when you stand confidently in your message, you inspire others to take action, not just in the moment, but for years to come. The time and effort you invest in this process doesn't just change how you speak. It changes how you lead. It changes how you connect. It changes how you show up in the world. So ask yourself this. Are you willing to settle for good enough in some of the most important moments of your career? Or are you ready to unlock your full potential? Mastery does not happen overnight, but every great speaker started somewhere. And your journey begins with a choice to commit to your growth, to prioritize practice, and to embrace the process of becoming the most impactful version of yourself. If you are ready to elevate your speaking, your business, and your life, take the first step today. Start small, practice a story, practice a framework, seek feedback, find a trusted peer or a coach that can help you and guide you and tell you the truth, and block off time in your calendar to practice and refine your message and treat it like the essential work that it is. Because the most important stage you'll ever step onto is the one where you discover what's possible for yourself. Let's make this the moment that you stop holding back and start showing up fully. Thank you so much for listening to the Story Engine podcast today. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with one other person that could use this message, and I will see you next time.